to say to me, but they took the flag down. And I would say, but you used to take the building down that the flag was on. Do you not understand how bad things used to be?
I don't think I know enough about their culture.
I began to realise that I can't think like that.
It was so split here.
They marched wherever they wanted, up and down Catholic areas, Nationalist.
A lot of things, and it seems to be an habitual tradition that that's what we do because this is the 12th and this is our day.
Stop worrying about the little things.
And that sort of goes for both sides, and not just my community.
Basically turn the whole culture political, you know.
Belfast city centre, people like me wouldn't have went into it, wouldn't have went near it, unless we were involved in some sort of an IRA operation. And that the conflict here came about as a result of the historical context that people like me were born into. The seeds of the conflict were sown with partition. Whenever the British government in their wisdom decided to carve this island up into two separate states, and you know, you had the idea of the first Prime Minister here in the north talking about a Protestant state for Protestant people.
I feel pretty safe. The only thing I would fear is that, you know, maybe, possibly, one day that things will go back to the way they were.
Every time you went into a shop, you automatically lifted your arms to be searched. You know, I remember going over to Liverpool for the Grand National, and I walked into a shop and I did that and everybody looked at me.
First I went to Derry, and then I went to Londonderry. It's the same place, what's the fuss about? Some said it was this, some said it was the other, but they all like the fiddle and the whiskey and the stout. It seems there is no problem here, it's not like you're running out of beer. Why not bury the hatchet, it'll be forgotten for too long. You ignorant American, you see it ain't that easy.
But for the future, well, I think the future is bright, because young people being born into society today, they don't have to endure what we endured as young people, which was an army of occupation on the streets and everything that brings with it, all the violence and all the rupturing of the rule of law.
I grew up with murals sort of around me of maybe gunmen, IRA volunteers, symbols.
Then they would phone the paramilitaries instead of the police.
They would call someone they know that's involved.
Even after the Good Friday Agreement was signed in 1998, there was further internal violence between the UVF and UDA, between the LVF, the UVF, between the LVF and UDA, even between the UDA and the UDA.
Well, back here in Belfast, there's a church on every corner. Protestant, Catholic, Baptist, Brethren, Methodist, Anglican, Pentecostal, Presbyterian, Free, Reformed, Charismatic, Orthodox, First, Second, Kingdom Hall, Gospel Hall, Iron Hall, and there's space for 50 more. So there ain't no doubt it's the land of St. Patrick, the patriarch of old who brought the gospel to the
Well, the biggest obstacle I would see within our society, right across the north, is sectarianism. Is the way that some people, young and old, view people of a different religion as somehow hostile as somehow lesser human beings. And that terrifies me.
If you wanna change of heart, well, you better get to working. Very religious, had you, Lord, just get along. You interfere and yank, are you really all that certain? Better to shut your bake and we'll all sing a song, yeah.
I'm aware of not saying too much. I'm aware of, you know, I protect myself a bit more, I think.
You grew up with this tension of not really knowing when it's appropriate to be yourself and when you have to tiptoe around certain issues.
Even within my, you would say, my own community, there'd be places we'd be scared to go into, but there's nothing where we'd want to go.
Probably more out of fear. Like, I wouldn't go into strictly loyalist places like the Sandy Row or Shankill or East Belfast. Like, I would be okay driving through them, but I wouldn't feel comfortable walking up and down through them, or wouldn't dare say my name even in them.
If you're in Derry and I come to Londonderry, won't you treat each other the way you welcomed me? It's the kindest place I've ever been, though I can't understand anyone. Are you speaking English? Sometimes I can't be sure.
Peace to me is being able to, you know, have friends from a Protestant, Loyalist, Unionist background and not have that be a problem.
Quite silly. The skies may be raining, but there's sunshine in our hearts. Perhaps with a little courage and some faith in each other, we can accept all our differences and agree to disagree. Hey, where did we go?
The violence bonded us all together. But since the violence went, the peace has turned us apart.
Being able to live side by side and probably being able to freely be yourself, like being able to wear what you want, speak how you want, probably me being able to enter loyalist areas and not be afraid.
You know, people were out peacefully marching for the right to a house, the right to a job, and equality of citizenship within the land of their birth, and the state attacked them. You know, you were very quickly into the downward spiral of violence and counter-violence, and
We got involved in things that in a normal society you wouldn't have to get involved in.
Because I was brought up in that, like, I was brought up to believe that everything Catholics, Nationalists, Republicans said was wrong. They were evil. They murdered thousands of people.
It was completely normal, which is crazy to think. It's almost, I think back now and go, did those things actually happen, or was that a movie I watched?
And there's no comparison to life on the streets today than it was 20 years ago and the 20 years before that.
I remember when the IRA decommissioned, people in some of the Catholic areas, like a Short Strand, were saying the IRA has given up the guns, the UDL murderers all in their beds. That was the perception. Whenever the Loyalist paramilitaries decommissioned, people within the Loyalist areas, the working class areas, were saying the UDA has given up its guns, the IRA will murder us in their bed.
Francis, and give me the roots of the Ulster beat, and help heal these wounds bleeding Going out into the streets when no, it ain't easy. These feelings aren't for naught, 'cause when you've lost a loved one, it simply cannot be forgot.
People are going to suffer their whole lives. I mean, just round above the street from me, there's a family whose daughter was shot dead. Her daughter was only 13.
There was people as young as 14 shot dead by British Army.
Having a family member who was murdered by the IRA.
Yeah, I remember my dad coming in and saying, "Get down," and he ran into the front room and got everyone to the back of the house where the kitchen is.
So much was lost, so much was found.
Seeing that there's hurt on our side, but also you have to remember on the Nationalist and Republican side there's hurt there, so you have to acknowledge that both sides did wrong, and an eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind at the end of the day.
Our young people only see what Republicans did to our side. They don't look at what our side did to Republicans, Nationalists, Catholics, and even some of our own people in the past.
All that I can say is to come at this from the point of view of put yourself in the other person's position. Walk in the other guy's shoes. Try and see life as the other person sees it.
All blood is precious. So much has been bruised, and the tears they have fallen down, leaving everyone confused. And where is the healing? Time and time has passed. Give me a song to sing and end these fears at last.
Because of young people, children as young as 8 and 9 were out throwing petrol bombs that parents were filling and allowing them to throw at the police.
Whenever there's trouble, we are at the mercy of children, and that kids dictate the safety of our community.
Where there is hatred, let me be love. Where there is sadness, let me be joy. Where there is love, hope springs anew.
You know, they're blessed with the peace we have now.
I mean, so it is hard to believe, looking back 20, 30 years ago, that there was a full-on war going on in my community.
That happened to my parents, that happened to my grandparents, and they're still getting over it.
Problem I had, I think, when I was very young, and my mum would send me around to get a pint of milk. There was some soldiers that would point the gun at me, and aim.
All we're doing is teaching our young people to hate all over again. All the good guys aren't orange, and all the bad guys aren't green.
It would look like people having no fear of where they go or what they are. It should be people having the freedom to be themselves and express their opinions, and to know that they are valued.
People won't forgive them, people won't forget. But when you talk to them and you listen to them, there's so many similarities, it's unbelievable.
We seem to be prideful of this past, which, yes, makes us who we are, but it doesn't determine who we can be.
Take your time, get your head on straight. Take your time, get your head on straight. 'Cause what good is anything if you don't know who you are? Lost the way, I'm out in the rain. What good is anything? No, if you don't know who you are.
My great grandfather was an orange man, my granddad was an orange man, my father was an orange man. Now I'm an orange man as well.
Some of my best friends were in Loyalist bands. They know I'm in Sinn Féin. They know they're Loyalist bands, but we don't care about that. We don't care about the politics of it. We're friends and that's it.
I would define myself first and foremost probably as an Irish Republican.
Like, we were never brought up to really care about whether we were Catholic or Protestant.
Yes, I'm a loyalist, I'm a Protestant, but it doesn't define who I am. My faith defines who I am.
I have a lot of Protestant friends, Loyalist friends. I'm from a Catholic family, and neither here nor there.
Well, I'm called a ceasefire kid, so I was born because of the ceasefire.
'Cause once you're gone that way, Lord, oh, you're living on beggar's pay, where every dog will have its day. Too long.
I'd like to see people in communities that are so focused on hate just to actually challenge themselves to try and love.
Sight to the crazy scene. Those things, they shine, they fill your mind. It's where the siren sings. Keep your eyes open, and guard your soul.
But a majority of that Republican side are young boys, is the only way to describe them, that have a chip on their shoulder that I feel that has probably been passed down through a generation of, you know, us and them mentality, tribal mentality will show them.
We're too young to understand what the Troubles are all about, what the conflict was, about the people who died, the bombs went off, the property was destroyed, people going to prison, lives ruined. These young people, they can't imagine that. They just can't understand how bad things were then.
'Cause down that road there's broken dreams. Where you gonna go? Down that road, Lord, I told you so. Where you gonna go? What good is anything, Lord? You don't know who you are.
So it's definitely changed, but there is an undercurrent of what's the word? Not fear, but tension. There's definitely a tension.
I would love to see the grip of paramilitarism drastically reduce.
'Cause once you're gone that way, oh, Lord, you're living on devil's pay, where every dog will have its day. Won't be for too long. Take a shot in the dark, what you gotta lose. Better a beat of the heart than yesterday's news. What good is anything? You don't know who you are. What good is anything? You don't know who you are.
people would have said to me, and people like me, we want to do what you did. And I would say, well, people like me didn't do what we did to keep it going until you were old enough to do it. We did it so you wouldn't have to.
I see people, they are all friendly, so I cannot differentiate between different groups of people, that they are loyalist or they are nationalist or they are Protestant or Catholic. So for me, I cannot differentiate because they are all very helpful, very friendly towards myself, my wife, my daughter.
So I hope really for the people here, because I think, is what I said, they are so nice and really lovely.
Will get better, I think, and they should, because it's a really, really nice place. People are really nice to you and they are so sweet.
I would say maybe now it's a really broken community. It is between the Protestant and Catholics, but as well between their own identity.
I generally avoid those areas where there are too many flags and too many pictures showing this drawings showing this Catholic and Protestant thing.
They need walls to live together. I mean, this is not normal.
I think Northern Ireland should be progressing a lot more than it is at the moment.
Berlin, the wall comes down 20 years ago, and here the troubles ended 15 years ago. So it's kind of nearly of the same time, but I think Berlin has changed really more than here in Belfast, and I don't know really why.
I'm very hopeful that it is going in the right direction and it will develop.
I think the generations cannot forget it because it still lives with the murals, and all the time you see it all the time when you live here.
And they will, I think next generation, this generation is a bit, okay, they think about these flags and loyalism, nationalism, Catholic, Protestant thing, but the future generation, I hope they will forget about these things.
Somebody has to start, and I always think it's kind of a Christian thing to forgive somebody.
But here, as you land on the airport, you start to feel the warmth and all the welcomeness that you get. That is something that is really heart-touching and heartwarming. So, yeah, I love living here. Yeah.